And I'm going to lay out a thought and a theory. And I think that this is a great financial lesson for those of you that are not familiar with these sorts of concepts. And it has to do with this thing called fiduciary responsibility. Now, give me a yes or no if you've ever heard the term fiduciary responsibility at some point, if you kind of have an idea of what that means. Give me a yes or no. All right. So, fiduciary responsibility, for those who aren't sure, means basically that, and actually, let me know if you can hear me. Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me, okay? Fiduciary responsibility means basically that it's my job to look out for you. Like I'm supposed to have your back. My interests are supposed to be your interests. So for example, if you are a rapper like Megan the Stallion and you have a manager who's getting 20% of what you make, the manager has a fiduciary responsibility to look out for Megan the Stallion. Or if you are if you are buying a house, your real estate agent has a fiduciary responsibility to look out for you. If you hire a lawyer has a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that you're good. Now, sometimes people violate the fiduciary responsibility, by looking out for their own interests more than they look out for your own or look out for yours. And so that concept comes to mind slightly when I think about what happened last week with Dogecoin and Elon Musk and everything else. Now, give me a yes or no, actually, if you have bought into Dogecoin or invested. Some of you may have also seen that we did an experiment where we bought some Dogecoin. I just bought it for fun because everybody was into it, and I was like, "Yeah, let's talk about it," because I think life is a big university. I think that everything you need that you get from a college, you get from the world, because college is nothing more than a reflection of the world. It's simply pulling together all the information and putting it into books and things like that. But if you look around, there's knowledge everywhere. For example, you can learn more by Googling things and watching YouTube videos than you can on a lot of college campuses. So I saw this as a learning experience, really. And so basically, I said, okay, let's buy some Dogecoin. Let's see what happens. I'll report the results. So we bought it. I think our average price point was about maybe 49 cents, which was a little bit late. A lot of people bought. Some of y'all were lucky. Some of y'all bought at 5 cents, a penny, 10 cents. And if you did, congratulations. I think that's really cool because right now Dogecoin's trading about 50 cents. So that means if you invested $1,000 in Doge at 10 cents, then your thousands turned into 5,000. If you invested 5,000, then that 5,000's turned into 25,000, right? You did a great flip, and I'm happy for you. But the thing that's interesting is a lot of the Dogecoin price was driven not by any sort of investing fundamentals at all. Like there's nothing in any financial textbook anywhere that's going to justify the price of Dogecoin. It was driven strictly by hype, by people just making other people believe, like people who have the ability to make things real, making them real. And Elon Musk was kind of the number one driver behind that, right? Elon Musk was the guy. Like Elon Musk and Dogecoin were kind of inseparable. And everybody knew that when Elon was going to go on SNL, that Dogecoin was going to come up because that's kind of been his thing. And what it reminds me of actually is when I went to a party. I went to a party hosted by the Air Jordan brand, the people that run the Michael Jordan brand. I know the CEO, the former CEO, Larry Miller, who's a great guy, and he's a smart guy. He actually took that company from 300 or 400 million to several $1 billion. A lot of y'all are wearing Jordans. A lot of y'all have friends that wear Jordans. And Larry Miller, it was intriguing to talk to him because I enjoyed hearing his perspective in terms of how he was able to pull that off. And he's a real black man. He's a great guy. But anyway, so Larry invited me to a party at the NBA All-Star Weekend, and I'm walking around. Alicia and I walking around together in this party, and we see every now and then we'll see a person that we recognize, but we didn't really care about that. But we sat down and we ate at this little restaurant thing that they had, this little mini restaurant. And when we sat at this little mini restaurant, there's this guy, this real big fat white dude that sat next to me, who he's kind of obnoxious, kind of cocky, and but I didn't care about that. But you could tell he felt like he was somebody, like he was important. So I just sat next to him. And I didn't tell him anything about who I was or anything. I just said, so what do you do? What brings you here? And he said, I was the creator of the Air Jordan brand. And I said, I'm sorry, scratch that. I said the AirPods. I'm sorry, I meant to say Beats by Dre headphones. He said, I was the creator of Beats by Dre headphones. Now, I'm sure a lot of you know about Beats by Dre headphones. And I was really intrigued by that. And let me tell you why. And this goes back to Elon Musk and Dogecoin. I promise you, this is a story, but I really think it links back to what we're talking about. And I talked to him and I said, you guys did an amazing job with marketing, because I was really fascinated by how you guys were able to take these headphones that didn't have any intrinsic value. Like these headphones are no different from any other headphones that are out there in terms of quality. There's other headphones out there that have the same quality that you can buy for maybe 1/5 of the price, and you created value. You made them valuable in the minds of the consumer. I said I was really impressed by how, by putting these headphones on celebrities. If you remember when Beats by Dre headphones first came out, nobody cared about them. Nobody knew who they were. But then you saw Lil Wayne wearing Beats by Dre. Then you saw Serena Williams wearing Beats by Dre. Maybe you saw LeBron wearing Beats by Dre, right? And then eventually it's like, oh, okay, everybody's wearing Beats by Dre, and it's got Dre's name on it. So that created artificial value and made a previously maybe $50, $40 pair of headphones, it's suddenly worth $300 or $400. Like people were paying this money. Even people who didn't have any money were paying this money. And now you can debate whether or not that's a healthy exchange, right? Dr. Claude Anderson in Powernomics talks about what he refers to as the doctrine of unequal exchange, which unfortunately affects Black wealth in a negative way, where you give them real money and they give you kind of an illusion, right? You give them $400, they give you a $50 pair of headphones and $350 worth of hype. Right? They're selling you hype, right? But we feel that hype is real, right? Because they made it real by putting it on the ears of a celebrity. And Dogecoin reminds me of Beats by Dre headphones, where Dogecoin is pretty much driven by hype. Now, hype can have real value. Like Beats by Dre headphones, it would be hard for me to argue that they're worth $400 a pair, but it's hard for me to argue against that too. Like either argument has merit, because somebody could say, hey, Beats by Dre headphones are clearly worth $400. And I would say, well, why would you say that? Well, because someone is willing to pay $400 for them. If someone's willing to pay that price, then that is the price. Theoretically and technically, that's what the price is. The price is what the price is, right? The price is not what it's supposed to be. The price is what it actually is, right? If that makes any sense, right? Whatever someone's willing to pay is what the price is worth. So with Dogecoin, the value was driven primarily by hype. Elon Musk was primarily responsible for that hype. A lot of people made an investment in Dogecoin, but they didn't understand that you're implicitly also investing in Elon Musk. You're investing in Elon Musk and his ability to use his influencer status to manufacture the hype necessary to keep the price strong, right? So it was so his endorsement of Dogecoin created, in my view, almost like a fiduciary connection between himself and his followers who love what he does, right? Who said, okay, Elon, we're going to ride with you. We love you. You tell us to buy it, we're going to go buy it, right? You tell us that it's good, we're going to believe it's good. Now, don't get me wrong. It's always still your choice, right? There's a personal responsibility there, but there are some people who just sort of went along with what Elon said. So for Elon to kind of go in and take all this hype that he's used to build up the price of Dogecoin, and then to say, it's just a hustle. I was just playing y'all, man. It's some BS, right? What that kind of does, I can understand. Don't get me wrong. I did a survey on my Twitter, and the majority of you actually said that you don't think people should be angry at Elon. I think 2/3 of the respondents said it ain't Elon's fault. And I get that, right? It's like if I date a girl, God forbid, I'm marrying a woman, but let's say I was dating a woman and she lied to me and misled me, or she somehow made me think we were going to be together forever, and then she dumps me or whatever. Some people would say, well, boy, she should have saw the warning signs. You should have known, blah, 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 blah. But then to some extent, some would say, well, the responsibility might lie on both ends, right? So I get it when people say, look, it's your choice, right? People like Dr. Boyce, being the jerk that he is, have been telling you that the fundamental value of a Dogecoin is zero. So if you went along with the hype and you got beat down, then that makes you a sucker, right? You bought it 75 cents, thinking that it was going to go to $3 or $2 to the moon, and you got played. So it's your fault. You got played. But then there are other people, though. There's that third who said, no, Elon did, kind of mess things up. And here's the merit to their argument, in my view, is Elon created this assumption, this connection, this trust. And remember, one of the most fundamental components of a financial market is trust. If you don't have trust, then you have no value. Like, no one does business with people they don't trust. You don't make love with people you don't trust. You don't do anything with people you don't trust, right? So trust is fundamental in economics, in love, and everything else. If you don't have trust, everything's dead, right? So basically, there was a trust created between Elon and his followers that Elon was going to be the guy who was going to do for Dogecoin what that white dude at the Jordan party did for Beats by Dre headphones. That Elon Musk was going to be the guy who took something that wasn't real and made it real. Elon Musk was going to be the guy that was going to make Pinocchio into a real boy, right? He was going, and people believe that, right? And I don't blame them for believing that, right? Because here's the thing, Dogecoin can become as real as people make it. Everything that's real in this economy is only real because human beings believe in it. For example, dollars are real because the world believes in the dollar. If the world stops believing in the dollar, then the dollar will cease to have value, right? So ultimately, or think about it like this: have you ever imagined doing business with a person where all they value is money? They'll do anything for money, money over everything. That person, if you give them money, then you can get them to do whatever you want. But imagine dealing with a person who doesn't care about money, who says, look, I got enough money, I don't need your money, I don't want your money, right? Well, then suddenly that thing that had all this value has no value, right? It can't get anything done. It can't create any sort of real, progress or traction. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever. So Dogecoin can be real. It could be real. If you had guys like Elon Musk and Mark Cuban and other celebrities convincing institutional investors with billions of dollars to start making moves on Dogecoin, and getting Dogecoin involved in some sort of circulatory networking effect where there's a real economy where people are actually trading real Dogecoins for real money, they could actually make it real. But the fact that Elon got on SNL and said Dogecoin is a hustle, suddenly it's like, oh, it was a big joke. And what's unfortunate is that for a lot of people, the joke was kind of on you. And I honestly feel like with Elon, where I would probably challenge him a little bit, to be honest with you, is I would kind of say, man, I know you make, $50 billion or $50 million a day. Like Elon literally makes about 40 to 50 million, and with an M, $1 million a day. And I know money's not a thing to you, and I know that you believe in freedom of speech and doing what you want and just being Elon no matter what. As but I would probably say, look, it's one thing if you are throwing up a middle finger to the establishment, right? If you're telling the SEC to go to hell, or if you are somehow deciding that you just want to, make your rocket ships, and you don't care what the regulators think. But it's another thing when the people that follow you, the people that believe in you, almost like a religion, have faith in you, right? When they have real money on the table, right? When you have the ability with your words to change their lives. Like literally, if Elon had created confidence, if he had the option. Remember, he had the option of instilling confidence in a Dogecoin, right? He could have said, I want the message to be one that says we're going to make this thing real because the people that follow me are they believe in this and I believe in it too, and I want to make this into a real thing. He did have that ability to do that, right? So when you talk about Dogecoin having a fundamental value of zero, which is absolutely 100% true, think of it like Beats by Dre headphones. Beats by Dre headphones are still only worth $50 in a certain way, to a certain context, right? Because again, I could go down to the Bose store. I'm sure I could find another pair of headphones of equal quality that costs far less than a pair of Beats by Dre. But that value, that hype, that brand association, that the idea that people believe in that value is what makes it all become kind of a real thing, right? So is Dogecoin real? Is it not real? It's everything. It's all of that, right? So I that was my thought for today, and I think that that's a great way to kind of look at economics and financial markets, and I wanted to lay that out and help you see it. Another way, a final way to kind of see it might be if you ask, let's say you ask somebody like, who's the prettiest girl in school, and if someone says, well, if you look at the scientific studies, studies show that the most attractive female is the one whose eyes are exactly 2.2 inches apart, whose lips are shaped in a specific way, who have long hair as opposed to short hair, who have a certain waist to hip ratio or whatever, right? You can put all that on a piece of paper. But then let's say that there's another girl who's not rated scientifically as the prettiest girl, but all the boys want to date her. Well, some would say, well, no, she's the prettiest girl because when we took a vote, all the boys wanted to go date that girl and not the girl that checks all the boxes. Do you follow me? So in a way, with a financial asset, it's the same way. The prettiest asset, the most valuable asset, is really a lot of times in the eye of the beholder. It's not always driven by some sort of magical fundamentals that we can link into that will tell us the ultimate truth. Okay. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on the issue. I know some of you might agree or disagree, and it's okay if you do or not. But I thought that would be a great way for us to start class today, in terms of you walking away with something that sticks in your brain and helps you to make financial decisions. Now, one more thing I want to remind you guys is that so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer your questions you submitted first. Those of you who submitted questions, if you want, or who haven't submitted questions, you can submit questions by logging in at the blackstockmarketprogram.com, theblackstockmarketprogram.com, and I will answer your questions first. And then those of you inside the actual class that will have questions you want me to answer, just put them in the Q&A section. Don't put them in the chat. Put them in the Q&A section, and I will answer as many questions as I possibly can. Okay, guys. All right. So, and also, if you want to see the recording of any of this class or any other, you can go to theblackstockmarketprogram.com. And then lastly, today, I'm going to go through actually the stock picks that I have for this week. I told you guys I really like Ethereum, and I have some other stocks that I researched that I invested in as early as today that I'll tell you guys about, and you can decide if you want to proceed. It's up to you to make that decision. Okay. So anyway, all right. So I'm ending the live feed now. I'm actually public now, but we're going private. So anybody go log in at theblackstockmarketprogram.com and hang out with us. All right. So